one of the things that I'm going to say, I'm going to be talking about, I guess, the relationships between black and Jewish people, because obviously you had Kanye talking about some anti-Semitic. They were saying Kanye saying some anti-Semitic things, right? And some people like Charlamagne say, here's the thing. I've always tried to, when it comes to Jewish black people saying things about Jewish people or the Jewish race. One thing I've had a couple videos is like, is Jewish a race or a religion? But come to find out, there's like 2% in America. About 2% are Jewish. All right, and 13% are black people. So we're minorities, but the Jewish are doing fine for each other. For what we've all seen, they have their own neighborhoods. They have their. You don't really hear a lot of. You don't see a lot of many Jewish people, but you don't really see a lot of poor Jewish people either. I've never met a poor Jewish person. I'm pretty sure there are poor Jewish people. I just never met one. Now, I don't. Now, me saying that, I want to say this. I am not coming from an anti-Semitic point, and I don't want no harm done to anybody that is Jewish or is Jewish religion, right? So we have it's this always this conversation when black people, we say we should get like the Jews, and as black people we always like we should get like the Jews because the Jews got it together, and to them it's not just offensive, it's a damn near death threat. And as black people, and including myself, for the longest, I never understood why. Because we're not talking to you in a malicious form, nor the type of form that Hitler used to talk about. Because if you was explaining fucking Hitler, then yeah, what Hitler did was horrible. We all know the horrible. And I say, and like I said, I'm not the type of person that's going to compare fucking tragedies. Like, I'm not going to compare slavery to the Holocaust. I know some people have, but I'm not going to. We're not going to go down that road. But I will say this. I do feel like there's a misunderstanding. Unfortunately, I was watching The Brilliant Idiots, and Schultz, Charlamagne, Andrew Schultz, and Chris Monroe, and I've been watching The Brilliant Idiots for years, so I respect all their opinions. Now, Schultz, I guess he grew up in a Jewish school, so like he was like the minority in that Jewish school. So basically, anytime, and correct me, and if whoever's listening to this and whoever's Jewish, correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm here to have a conversation, not to say my word is right. This is for conversation pieces because, like I said, I would love to have a conversation with a Jewish person because I do feel like there are misunderstandings on both ends, but especially on our end for sure. But the reason why, like, Jewish people do not like the rhetoric of we need to get the Jews. They own the banks, they own movies, they own, like, Jewish people got a lot of money and all that stuff because that's the rhetoric that started World War II and what started the Holocaust and what made Hitler come after the Jews. Which is funny because Hitler was a Jew himself. So, say what you want about that. I remember I was having this conversation about motherfucking Whoopi Goldberg, and I was like, Whoopi Goldberg shouldn't have been fired for what she said because I don't think what she said was anti-Semitic. If anything, it was historically accurate. I still stand on that. I also, Nori. I don't think Nori, in my opinion, Nori should apologize because it wasn't him that said it. It was Kanye. But I also feel like if you put, and all the reason I said, and this is just me, and maybe I still need a little growing up to do. But if you're gonna bring someone as controversial as Kanye, you got to stand on that shit. You brought him on there, and you know his controversy is going to bring some attention on it. You best to stand on that shit. So I feel like if you're going to take down that shit, you should have never brought it in the first place. You stand on the shit you was trying to deliver to people. Maybe you didn't. You should have, especially like how Kanye has been saying quote unquote anti-Semitic things. You should be able to stand on that. You know what? Gay's my guy. I want to hear his thoughts. I know it's going to be a little controversy, but hell, we're gonna rock out anyway. The George Floyd shit is obviously in how can I say this? The George Floyd obviously is incorrect because we all seen that man die on fucking camera. All right, and he was just like, and him, quoting from the Candace Owens podcast. And to be honest, it didn't do Candace Owens no better either. But she's gonna, she's gonna defend Kanye, and it came from her and it came from her documentary. So take what you want. I've had my thoughts. I will give my thoughts on that. So, Nori took it down. Nori apologized. I still stand there. I don't think you should, because I feel like if you're gonna put some content out there, you might as well stand on that shit. So, especially since Diddy is technically your boss because he comes on Revolt and blah 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 blah. Kanye and Diddy was having these fucking arguments and shit. It's just weird. The whole thing is just weird. But everybody, he was apologizing for like anti-Semitic shit, like even on Piers Morgan and a lot of things. And everybody was just, and people. I've been hearing the brilliant, and they say, the rhetoric he was saying is dangerous. Credit. Which I always say, is dangerous, but is it factual? And that's the question. And maybe I gotta, and this is just me. I have to look at it again. I'm telling you this myself. This is not me stating the obvious, but I always look at sometimes I know some people say some shit and it's just like, damn, you didn't really say this shit, but is it factual? Now Kanye's out for Kanye. So my stances on is Kanye right or wrong? Probably won't that strong anyway, because as I said about him saying slavery was a choice and me believing that slavery is a choice, I hated that Kanye said that because Kanye is not really for the people. It's more or less for himself. So where that comes from is, I don't think it comes from a genuine spot. Kanye doesn't do anything logical. I always say that Kanye goes off of feeling. He goes off of logical, which is why I said that White Lives Matter shit is baked. He just, and it's still, and from what it was saying, it proves my point. Now, the conversation I feel like blacks and Jews need to have, and I think we need to have this on TV. Maybe, I don't know, we're going to have this on national TV because I don't think because I want Farrakhan there. And the only reason I'm saying this, I want Farrakhan there. And I want a rabbi. I want a rabbi and a Farrakhan. And I want blacks and Jews. And I know not all black people follow Farrakhan, but I do want him on there because sometimes he gets condemned for saying anti-Semitic shit. And Farrakhan is like, I'm not anti-Semitic. I don't have a problem with Jews. He said that many a times, but people condemn him as anti-Semitic. There's a conversation between blacks and Jews that I feel like it is not having, and it's always like off screen. And I'm pretty sure I've had this talk before on this podcast, on this channel, but just to reiterate, just to say it again, because I get sick and tired of we saying some shit and it's it's nowhere near the detriment of what the fuck Hitler said. And yet, our black men are apologizing. I watched Tamika Mallory stand 10 toes down on her beliefs of Farrakhan. And they tried to make her apologize. And she didn't. And she stood 10 toes down on national TV. That's some fucking dedication. Right? But yet, every time... and she has things to lose to as well. Maybe not as much as a Snoop or Nori or any other black person that supposedly said some anti-Semitic shit. I know Stu didn't say no anti-Semitic shit. His shit was more or less calling Gail a nappy dog head bitch. But Snoop also had to go on an apology tour for shit. Nick Cannon, when Nick Cannon was saying some shit that it was just like it's in the fucking history books, in which we be people say shit, it's like it's in the fucking history books. So why are you having such a why is calling it anti-Semitic, which is actually like it happened? Excuse me. I would love to see a conversation happen, and with blacks and Jews, I would have Farrakhan there. I would have a rabbi there. I would have people in between. Maybe a Christian, maybe a Christian black man, just a Christian brother, and even Umar there. He's like, but I would have the same number of Jewish people, rabbis, and all that stuff, and to understand why, because correct me if I'm wrong, and Shoke said this, like us saying we need to get like the Jews, or the Jews owes on the banks, the Jews owes on which Jews has most of the film industry, the Jews has most of the media shit. To them, that's a threat of you coming after them. Now there's only like 2% of them, so it's just not that much to come after. But and this funny thing is, I looked up. I was like, first person I looked up, Harvey Weinstein. Harvey Weinstein's a Jew. Because the first thing that popped up, Weinstein Company. Weinstein, that sounds Jewish. Yeah. Owned by Harvey Weinstein. He is a Jew. And then I looked up Rockefellers. Jewish. Correct me if I'm wrong. The Rothschilds. Jewish. These are powerful people. Rothschilds own the fucking oil company, if I'm correct, though. Or it's the Rockefellers. One of them, the Rothschilds company. It's like some of the lawyers, when they tell you I get a lawyer, most of the lawyers are Jewish. So do they not in some type of power position? Especially the ones we're talking about, the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, the fucking, people in the media and the film, like the Weinsteins. And I'm pretty sure there's a Goldbergs and a bunch of other powerful Jewish people in powerful positions. They are. What rhetoric is anti-Semitic about that? You have people. Some of the banks are owned by Jewish people. Am I wrong? And this is all we saying. Am I wrong? Isn't all these people in a Jewish position? Now, we're not saying you got that out of greed or guilt or like fucking whatever. Because me personally, you know the names, but I don't really know the history. You don't know the real history behind I don't know the history around the Rockefellers, so I'm not going to soil a name that I don't really know behind. But I do know that they are powerful people. So is Weinstein. Weinstein was a powerful man in the fucking film industry. If I'm correct, the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers, powerful people in their field. And it's the only lawyer that we know that was black that had fucking motives and moves was fucking Johnny Cochran. He had his own fucking firm. But I don't know, maybe, and I'm pretty sure even in the music industry, you got people like Leo Cohen, who is fucking Jewish. He's a powerful man. You can't really say, hey, you really can't say, oh, black people being anti-Semitic when the people we are talking about are actually people in power. And this is the part that because I understand the Jewish point of view. I don't want our people to be attacked. Because these same rhetorics are what got, what got the Jews attacking with the Holocaust. I get that. But I feel like this is where the Jewish people, and this is where I would fight back on, or at least have this conversation. Black people are not trying to be like fucking Hitler. We said this. Matter of fact, I feel like we're always ignored when we talk about getting money like the Jews or saying something where we feel like we're complimenting the Jews because we're not bad mouthing no Jewish people. But I feel like this is what you don't understand. Where in my opinion, the Jewish people do not understand. We want our own shit. That's all we want. Our own shit. That's all black people want. Our own shit. For the longest. It's like if you want to know what black people want, we want our own shit. We always talking about getting every race talking about black people need to pick up from our bootstraps, and then look, we were stripped of our culture, we were stripped of our ancestry. Now we're just black. Most people are just black Americans. Most people don't know where the fuck they came from. Most people don't even fucking, in their opinion, my family was born in America, never came from Africa. You know that shit. Even though like fucking ancestry DNA fucking says we go back to Africa. Some people don't even claim their fucking African heritage and shit. Where the fuck the slaves come from and shit. We don't really a lot of people don't really claim their heritage like they should. So nonetheless, and like I said, the Holocaust was terrible for the Jews. Obviously, it's one of the most inhumane things in fucking history. We all know that. We all seen the history. It's in the history books. We all know that. You know what's not in the history books? And I'm not blaming the Jewish people for this. Tulsa, Oklahoma being burned the fuck down. That's not in the history books. But the Holocaust is. But the Holocaust was in fucking humane. I mean, yeah, we get, slavery. Hell, they're trying to fucking clean up slavery to where slavery is like, it wasn't all that bad. Like, slavery wasn't all that bad. In which, that shit lasted for forever. Most people realize that, the civil rights was in the 1950s or some shit like that. It's barely 100 years old. Like, black people, we literally wasn't human. Like, we was considered property. And that's where I feel like, it seems like, that's where we, as black people, was just like, at one point, hey man, look, I know y'all went through your shit, but we went through our shit too. Matter of fact, we wasn't even considered as property and shit. And I know, like, Hitler hated everybody, like blacks and Jews, but he actually went after the Jews. He's probably pretty sure he went after some blacks too. I'm pretty sure, but it's just like, hey, it's like we have our shit that we had to go through as well. And I'm not trying to ramble on because I'm already 18 minutes through, and I was really trying to make this precise. But it's obvious that everybody talk about the Jews is bad, and this is the part that irritates me. It's just like, he said some anti-Semitic shit, and what he said was unspeakable and all that shit. That shit was, and it seems like. Okay, y'all give the Jew and to their credit, it is. Sometimes, depending on who the fuck says it, sometimes it really is be anti-Semitic, and even some shit that Kanye was saying would make sense. It's just like kill the whole, kill that nigga, kill that bitch, kill that nigga, fuck his bitch, kill that nigga, fuck his bitch. It's like, you're selling us murder and sex, but you're not selling no positive shit. Which, I would say Kanye really didn't either. He was part of that. Kanye was also part of that problem. This the same nigga that didn't make Jesus Walks, but he made a lot of songs that had to deal with sex as well. So, which is like, a lot of people, I say, take some celebrities from a grain of salt. And even me, it's like I like hearing his rants, but I also take it shit for a grain of salt because Kanye just be talking out his ass sometimes. It's like even when he's correct, he still talks out of his ass. So that's why it's just like, but he is right about he was right about some things, and that's why I feel like as everybody focused on the anti-Semitic shit, I also feel like there was some shit you can learn about there either too. At the but like I said, Kanye also not he's not one I was like be following either. It's just like because like I said, Kanye runs off of emotions. Like he said something about Lupe Chance. I feel like if he would start as like if something along the lines of, and I hope I get this right because he was just like Lupe and Chance. He's like they're the two people that would get us together. And Lupe's my favorite rapper, and Lupe always rapped how he wanted to fucking rap. So like he would talk about some positive things. He would talk about some controversial shit. He's always been like conscious. Though he grew up in the west side of Chicago and nigga got some gangster in him. Like people keep forgetting. They're like, nigga, yeah, he made a song about fucking skateboard. Nigga got some gangster in him. Trust me, nigga from Chicago. I'm like, there's some stuff that he can. And the one thing I've always admired about Kanye is that if you tell him you can't do that shit, he is going to prove you wrong. I've always said that Kanye is the type of dude that's just like, if you tell him don't do that, he's gonna be like, I'm going to do it, and he does it, and he's succeeded at everything he done because like I said, people love Kanye. This shit. Kanye has a type of love that I see, do a lot of things and people just forgive him about it, or people just cut, and not just because he made great music. It's just like you can tell, like he's very emotional and passionate about what he does. Sometimes he'll say some shit out of the ordinary, but you can tell the passion is there. So. In conclusion, and I think that's what I should do. In conclusion, we definitely have to have a conversation as Black and Jewish people. Just like I was talking, most of the times where I was like, if you ask me where do I fall this on the line, we need to have a conversation with ourselves first. All right? But I do want us to get to an understanding, especially with the Jewish people. We do not want to kill or like put any harm to Jews. I don't think no majority of Black people. Yeah, there's probably a couple people who just like there maybe be like kill the Jews, the whole kill whitey shit. They're probably there, but that's not majority of the people. Majority of us, we just want our own shit. We just want our own shit and be left the fuck alone. Right? Let us get our money. Let us build a society. It's like we'll pay our taxes just like everybody else. Like we'll pay our taxes just like everybody else. But we can show that hell, if you give us the right people and put the right people in the right position, we can create a utopia. We've done that, and like I said, we've done that before in history. Just like in Tulsa and in other spots that, where we actually like do for, we do for each other. Like we fucking, we look good. As a matter of fact, it's like we over exceed. Just like when you put a Black person into a school and, you take away from all the violence and, all of a sudden he does exceptionally well. You ever notice that? It's just like, you give them the opportunity to learn, but not only just the opportunity to learn, the opportunity to excel at shit, we fucking excel at it. That's always been Black people. So, if anybody here Jewish, listen to this, and it's Jewish, and you listen to this conversation, because I started saying this, and I'm going to end up saying this. I hope none of this come out as anti-Semitic. I hope none of this is like made you think that that I am anti-Semitic, that I am coming from a place of understanding. Because I do want to talk to the damn rabbis, and yes, I do like because I do get you don't want another Holocaust to happen. I don't think it's coming from us though, especially black people, and that's my other thing is feel like um do you think it's gonna come from us black people? Because I sure don't. I think it's going to be coming from, if anything, the white people that hate the Jews. This is still America. And motherfucking the Ku Klux Klan, they don't just hate niggas. They hate a lot of people. We're just the ones they hate the most. And maybe the Jews. I don't know, the Jews probably. But obviously you know their rhetoric and shit. Us, we just want our own shit. So that's my opinion. Let me know what you think about that too. My name is Oskito Flying. Out. Peace.